everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can see from the title, I am doing my August wrap up. I was going to say July then. I'm doing my August wrap up, and last month I called this video my July reads. However, I've decided to change the name because this month I didn't read a lot. I have a few books which I'm about halfway through, so I thought I would just call this my my August wrap up, and then I can explain as I go what I've read, what I am still reading, and everything else that has meant that I haven't actually read that much this month. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or you read my blog, or you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, then you'll know that at the beginning of August I was in Florida, and I came back on about the 8th or the 9th. It was an overnight flight, so it was one or the other. And that kind of meant that the beginning half of this month I didn't really have time to read, as I was in Disney and it was such a packed holiday. We did so much, so I didn't really get a chance to read while I was there. And then I've also had my driving theory test and exam results, so sorting out all the stuff for uni. Plus I've had some other things going on in my life which have taken up a lot of my time, a lot of my brain space, so I just haven't had that much time to read. Plus I've been in a bit of a reading slump. I just haven't felt like reading. Nothing has really taken my fancy. So I've only actually read 3 books this month. All 3 are comic books / graphic novels, whatever you want to call them. At the end of near the end of August, I have been reading a book, but it's taken me a little while to get through. As I said, I'm just not feeling reading, so I'm just trying to read when I feel like it, because I don't really want to force myself. The first book I read this month, I read on the flight home from Florida, and that is Saga Volume 2. Now, I read the first volume of this in July, and this is just great. I adore the artwork for Saga. It feels like such a long time ago that I read this, actually. And there is another volume of this out, but this is if my memory serves me correctly, I think this is like a 6-part. There's going to be 6 volumes for this, and currently only 3 are out, and the next one is either out at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, which kind of sucks a little bit, so I'm kind of putting off getting volume 3, but volume 2 was amazing. I think I liked this more than volume 1, actually. I did really enjoy this. Again, as I said, the artwork is beautiful. I kind of like that it's not necessarily your standard comic book sort of artwork, and the colouring of it is beautiful. If you don't know what Saga is about, it's star-crossed lovers in space with war. Basically 2 warring planets, or 2 warring species, have both of whom the main characters are soldiers. They have fallen in love, had a child, and that's all in volume 1, and then volume 2 is kind of the continuation of that and everything that starts to happen. The second 2 comic books I read this month are both Fables, so Fables Volume 2 and Fables Volume 3. I read Fables Volume 1 in July on the flight to America. Now, Fables Volume 2 is mine, and I ordered this with Fables Volume 1, and I really enjoyed this. I loved that it was kind of a continuation but introduced you to more characters. I really liked that you met more characters, and it was more characters that you knew, as most of them are in Fables. And yeah, it was just a great continuation and a great introduction into more characters who, now I've read 3 and I'm reading 4, you needed to find out about. This kind of develops the plotline and develops the world more, I guess, a lot more than the first one does, which I felt I enjoyed this a lot, but I felt like this was kind of setting it up for further volumes and for further storylines that are going to carry on, but at the same time it was still really good. As I said, the third book that I read this month was Fables Volume 3. Now, as you can see, this has got a shiny cover on because this is from the library. When I was in my library having a look around, and I found Fables Volume 3 to Volume 7. They could have had more, but I just got those ones. And I read this and I loved it. I loved this one more than number 2. This definitely had more drama, but in a romantic way. Volume 2 had a lot more action. This had a lot more. This had a lot of action too, but this also included real romance in a way, I guess. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I read this quite a while ago, but this is great. I am loving Fables. I can't wait to read more. I liked how this continued the storylines of characters that you are getting to know, and you're getting to know them more and more and more as it goes on, and I can't, like, it sets you up because you want to read the next one to find out what is happening with Snow White, what is happening with Rose Red, what is happening with the the Big Bad Wolf, or Big B as he's known, and how is this going to affect the entire Fable town and the Fable community. Those are the 3 books that I've read all the way through this month, but there was 2 other books that I've read partially that I'm about halfway through, and that is Fables Volume 4 and Maze Runner. So these are the first 2 things which are on my TBR list for September. Hopefully I'll finish them within the first few days. So the first, as I said, is Fables Volume 4. This starts pretty much where Volume 3 left off. I kind of was a little bit confused because this starts with, it's broken up into chapters, which are the original what it was originally published in, and then they got put together in volumes later on. And the first chapter of this, I was a little bit confused. I didn't really understand. I thought maybe it was just put in just to help your development of the world and help your understanding of the world. But as it goes on into further chapters, you realise you needed to know what was in the first chapter to understand what was going on later on, because that chapter introduced characters from within the world and introduced Red Riding Hood and a few other characters that you know of, but introduced their stories, and it was told by Boy Blue. And I just thought originally that chapter was just one that they added because it was fun, and then later on I realised, oh no, you actually needed to know that it was in for a purpose. It's part of the story. I can't wait to see what happens in this. Where am I? I am that far through, so I'm over halfway now. I mean, this one, volume 4 is my favourite so far. I am loving this. It's a little bit thicker. I said this one's from the library, which is probably why it's a bit thicker, but at the same time I'm loving this. This is my favourite so far. I am planning to do a series review on Fables, hopefully once I've read maybe 5, 6 and 7, or maybe just 5. But this is my volume 4 is my favourite so far. I can't wait to see what the climax is like, because this is kind of, this one is so full of action and drama and tension. It's definitely leading up to a major climax that the other books have had, but not on this level. This is just my favourite so far. I am loving it. So I would definitely recommend Fables to anyone that wants to read or try comic books but not superheroes, because these are based on the stories of your favourite storybook legends, fairy tale legends. I said it's got Snow White, Rose Red, Big Bad Wolf, Red Riding Hood, Boy Blue, King Cole, Prince Charming, Beauty and the Beast. They've got everyone, and I can see from the titles some of the other ones I've got that everyone is going to be in these. And so this is chapter volume 4 is definitely my favourite so far. So if you want to check something out which is a bit different than just superheroes, try these. Get to at least volume 4 just because this one is so good. As I said, the other book which I have been reading this month, but not yet finished, is Maze Runner by James Dashner. I think this comes out in the cinema soon, and it features Dylan O'Brien, who is from Teen Wolf, and I adore Dylan O'Brien. So that's was kind of a motivation to read this, because I wanted to read it before I'd seen the film, and I just have not been feeling reading. I've not really wanted to read. I've not really been in the right frame of mind to. Yeah, every time I pick this up, I can't put it down. I have to kind of force myself, I have to make myself pick it up, but as soon as I have, I'm grateful for it, because this is so good. And I think I'm on chapter 30. The chapters are tiny, which I really like, because I've been reading this while I've been on trains recently, so it's been great because I can just read a chapter and I needed to get off the train because they've only been like 20 minutes. So the small chapters I've really been liking. I'm loving this so far. It just keeps you reading and keeps you going and keeps you wanting to read more. Every chapter has pretty much ended with a cliffhanger, which is obviously a good thing because it keeps you reading. I'm definitely going to be finishing this soon. It is just a great read. It's just YA dystopian fiction. As it says at the top, a must for fans of the Hunger Games. Yeah, if you like the Hunger Games, you'll like this. I'm going to do a book review of this when I finished it, and I just can't wait to finish it. It is so good so far, and this has definitely pulled me back into reading. I'm glad I picked this up, because now I've nearly finished this, I'm wanting to read again, which is definitely good. There is a few things that are on my TBR for September now. I go to uni about just over halfway through the month, but I'm hoping that I'll get to read quite a bit before I go to uni, as I've not really got much planned the few weeks that I have before I go. And so the first things that are on my TBR for September are volumes 5, 6 and 7 of Fables. I've renewed these from the library, so hopefully I can finish them before I go and before they need to go back. I'm really excited because they look so good. We've got Fables Volume 4 is called The Mean Seasons, Volume 5 is The Mean Seasons, 6 is The Homelands, and 7 looks amazing, it's called Arabian Nights. I just can't wait to read these. Fables has blown me away so far. I couldn't recommend what I've read so far enough, and I'm really excited to get on to reading 5, 6 and 7. Last thing that is officially on my TBR for September is to finish Allegiant. I have been reading this, I must have been reading this for about 5 months or something, or 4 months. You can see how far I am through. I loved Divergent and Insurgent. They were incredible, and then I got to this and it's just huge, and it's a hardback, and I don't know. I want to finish it because I want to know how it ends, but at the same time, so many people have told me the ending is appalling, that they hate the ending, that it is bad, and I'm like, oh, I want to know what happens now, but it just isn't. I'm probably gonna I may even have to start it again, just because I'm halfway through, and I probably don't even remember what happened in the beginning half. Like, I vaguely remember, but let me know if you've read this and you have thoughts on it, or whether I should carry on reading or not. Let me know in the comments, because I want to finish it to find out what happens and to say that I finished the trilogy, because I want to read Fall, the novellas, the book with the novellas in, but at the same time I'm like, it's not really captured my attention at all. Like, books like this normally, like I read Insurgent in like less than a week. Books like this normally keep me going, keep me gripped. This just hasn't. Like, I had to force myself to read what I did read. Bits of it were good, bits of it I was like, what is this even on about? So, but yes, this is on my TBR to finish in September. Whether I will is a different matter, so you'll have to subscribe to see my September wrap up, to see if I do end up finishing the monster that is Allegiant. Veronica Roth, what are you doing? This book is just so big, and yeah, I'm hoping I can finish it, but we'll see. So that's the end of my August wrap up. I hope you enjoyed this. I apologise, it's been a little bit rambly and a little bit all over the place. That's just been my reading this month. It's been a bit rambling, a bit all over the place. But as you can see, I've really been enjoying reading comic books this month, and I'm adoring Fables. Go and check it out if you want to try something new. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to see, because I am definitely going to be doing a Maze Runner review once I've read it. Probably a Fables series review when I've read a few more. And just because at the end of September there will be a September wrap up, and maybe you'll find out whether I read Allegiant or not. If you want me to, if I do read that, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video review or not, because I don't know. I'll probably have to start it again, but we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this, even though it was really rambly. I'll see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you soon. Bye.